Two types of women Solomon urged us not to trust. King Solomon had over 1,000 wives and concubines. He certainly had enough experience to write a book on the subject, and right he did. Solomon wasn't just collecting wives randomly. He was studying women's hearts. Solomon concluded, not all women can be trusted. He identified two types to be wary of. The first type is the harlot. Solomon compared her to a deep pit.
For a prostitute is a deep pit, an adulterous woman is a narrow well.
He wrote in Proverbs 23:27, "One wrong step, and you've fallen." The harlot uses her charms to manipulate others. Her goals are often selfish. Consider the story of Joseph and Potiphar's wife. This biblical tale illustrates the harlot in action. Potiphar's wife repeatedly tried to seduce Joseph. He resisted her advances. She then falsely accused him out of spite. This shows how dangerous a harlot can be. The second type is the wayward wife. She's harder to identify at first. Solomon likened her to a narrow well. It looks inviting at first, but try to drink from it and you might get stuck. The wayward wife may initially appear to be a good partner, but her loyalty is questionable. Both of these types can cause heartache and trouble, but Solomon doesn't leave us without hope. He describes the kind of woman worth trusting. The king admired what he called the gracious woman. This isn't just about politeness. It's about kindness that shines through. She supports her partner's dreams. She values her honor highly. In a chaotic world, she brings peace.
A gracious woman gains respect.
Solomon noted in Proverbs 11:16, but Solomon's highest praise was for the virtuous woman. He said, "She's worth more than rubies."
A wife of noble character who can find. She is worth far more than rubies.
He declared in Proverbs 31:10, "She's honest to the core. Her compassion knows no bounds." Solomon advised looking beyond appearances. He urged men to seek out women of substance.
Charm is deceptive and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised.
He stated in Proverbs 31:30, "You might wonder why Solomon had so many wives if he was so wise. It's a fair question. Even the wisest can fall into traps." Solomon's harem was a direct violation of God's law. God had given clear instructions for kings. The law stated that a king should not have many wives. This was to prevent the king's heart from turning away from God. Solomon ignored this command. He took hundreds of wives and concubines. As Solomon aged, his wives led him astray. His wives introduced foreign gods. Solomon began to worship these false deities. This angered God. He decided to split Solomon's kingdom after his death. It would tear apart everything Solomon had built. Solomon tried everything to find happiness. He pursued wealth, wisdom, and women, but he realized that it was all meaningless.
Meaningless, meaningless,
says the teacher.
Utterly meaningless. Everything is meaningless.
He lamented in Ecclesiastes 1:2. True fulfillment, he realized, comes from fearing God and following his commands.